Prove your freedom.
I think ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything. No, it really has been a tough first year for you, Mr. President. Gas is up, gas is up, gas is up, everything. Rent is up, everything, everything, everything. Gas is up, rent is up, food is up, gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything.
We definitely need those Biden did that, I did that sticker. That is just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Folks, the battle is on. It has hit the fan, and people are waking up, waking up, waking up. Whether or not they have a hangover from drinking too much scotch or not, people are waking up, right? The sleeping giant has awakened, but that does not mean an instant victory. It does not mean that the fan will be cleaned off and there's no poo on it. No, it's going to continue to hit and hit and hit, and it can get a lot worse, folks, a lot more violent. Now, I want to start the show today. Oh, by the way, get your comments down below. I'm going to do my, what am I doing? I'm going to do my monologue followed by your questions at the inner circle. If you want to be a part of the inner circle on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, no extra charge. All you have to do is be a premium member. And by premium, I mean it's a $2 premium membership. That's it. And you support this channel, you support the message, you support patriotism, you support America, you support the Constitution, you support the Declaration of Independence, you support our culture, our traditions, our laws, our real military. That's what you support, because that's what we talk about. And that's what we are, you could say, lobbying for when we call Congress and go, hey, live up to your oath, you bunch of jackasses, right? When you do that, right? That's what we're supporting. The message, folks, it's the message. The First Amendment is the message. The Second Amendment is, why didn't you listen to the first message? Ding dongs. Now, I also want to say, years ago when I started this channel, 10 plus years ago. Now in December, it'll be 13 years we have been on board here. But for now, it's 10 plus. 10 years ago, I said, look, I'm going to use very aggressive, very nasty, very filthy language in descriptive terms. The purpose of that was to get people used to objectionable language and thought, to make people get tough to deal with what I knew was coming. I wanted people to toughen up. Don't get offended by a little bad language. And now I'm like, there is nothing I can say that is worse that is happening out there. From these fruitcakes who want to convert children into their toys, to the military being destroyed by puppy masters and fruitcakes and fishnet stockings. Yeah, the military, that's the Pentagon now. To the White House pandering to butt pirates and illegal aliens and the World Economic Forum. There's nothing I can say that is worse than that. So now I can just talk like a normal human. I don't have to try and be grotesquely nasty in order to get people to wake up, pay attention. And it should make the show, which is The Prepared Mind, a little more palatable for the average person. Not that I'm not the same crass individual inside, but we need to reach a wider audience that is just now waking up. So share that internet address if you're watching on YouTube. Share it. Now, let's get into the SHTF events. Folks, the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, and the World Health Organization have been declared terrorist organizations in Florida. That's right, folks. The UN, the WHO, and the WEF are terrorist organizations in Florida. And I say good that government or government organizations have pronounced it that. That's right. The Republican County Assembly in Florida has said, you know what? That's what they are, terrorists. And it's smart of them to do that. And it is brave of them to do that, because now the UN, the World Health Organization, and the World Economic Forum, which is made up of billionaires. It's the multi-billionaires club. You know, Bill Gates, he's small. He's a puppet compared to some of these people in the World Economic Forum. Okay, when you're a trillionaire, billionaires, right? I'm a thousandaire. Anyways, terrorists cannot claim supreme authority over Floridians and force us to take an injection of their poison, the Jim Jones juice. That's the point of this. For local, as in state, and states are countries, the state of Florida, the Republic of Florida has now pronounced them terrorist organizations. So they will not have any jurisdiction in this state. Once again, I moved down here as my final move in the South because of the protections the state provides and because I can provide protection to the state who recognizes and respects what it is I can do. Shouldn't that be the way it is? A symbiotic relationship between state and the sovereign people. The state being the government of the people being the sovereign owners of the state, who just flipped the mega bird to the UN and Tedros. That's right, Tedros, the head of the World Health Organization, is a terrorist sympathizer, a terrorist supporter, and he belonged to a terrorist organization. Why are we playing games with these people? It has hit the fan and we're fighting back. And we should, folks. I mean, today, Dr. Doom, Mr. Poop Stain himself, Fauci, he entered the U.S. Capitol because he had to give some testimony. Well, he got heckled. Here are what was yelled at him. Quote, "Are you sad you're in the number 3 spot in murdering people behind Stalin and Hitler?" He's actually number 4. Forgot Chairman Mao. And then someone else yelled, "How many people do you think you murdered?" It's amazing, folks, how people wake up when murder, attempted murder, and maiming medically hit us between the eyes. Americans have woken up and they know what's going on is not a good scene, but it's going to continue. So people are yelling, they're using their First Amendment. But I want to tell you this. Did you know that both Republicans and Democrats, and thank you much, Heidi, it just showed up. Both Republicans and Democrats, about 25% of them, think the government should have the authority. They think the government should have the authority to tell people what they can and cannot say, that the government should censor offensive language. That is so far off the reservation. It is unconscionable to me that they could even think that. Yet, people, even Republicans, folks, think it's fine. Well, who's to determine what is and is not offensive? You know what I find offensive? Fruitcakes with rainbow flags marching down the street wearing lingerie that belongs to women, not men, screaming and yelling and wagging their genitals in children's faces, thinking it's cute. That's what I think is very, very wrong. You know, what these people want is awful. They want to invite everybody into America, even though they're not American. They don't have any real paperwork. They don't have any skills, life value, just life value. Just invite everybody in from the Middle East, from Africa, from South America, Central America. Well, it just happens to turn out that a 19-year-old illegally here alien from Venezuela, that's right, another Venezuelan, folks, showed up, is living in a luxury hotel at your expense. This idiot, this 19-year-old scumbag who doesn't know America, our law, our culture, our traditions, nothing, decided to gun down 2 NYPD officers. Surprised? I'm not, because we predicted this and far more, and it's very wrong and far more is coming. It really is. But it's not going to stop. They're not going to stop. We need to fight back. And let me give you a couple examples. I want to continue on Monday here with a great story. But understand, this is not enough. We have to win so big that the election can't be rigged. Too big to rig. And I'm going to continue to say that. We can't just say, hey, look, everyone's pissed. We know they're going to vote. We've got this in the bag. No, it's got to be so big, so overwhelming that the Democrats cannot cheat. And then when and where they do cheat, they need to be pulled out by their short hairs and tried as criminals. Now, in Riverside, California, that's in the LA basin. Riverside, LA, they're kind of synonymous. Now, people in LA, they don't think so. It's like LA's LA, Riverside's Riverside. No, fuck you. Inside the LA basin, it's all the same. And I'm a Californian, so I can say that. Anyways, the sheriff of Riverside County is changing sides. He's all in for Trump. And he should be. All law enforcement should be all in for Trump. Sheriffs are seeing it. Sheriffs know what's going on. They understand the threat that is now upon this country with these illegals from everywhere. And gruesome Gavin is an obvious terror risk with his open border policy and his off the mark communist BS. But understand this, sheriffs and police chiefs everywhere. You can't be a little bit constitutional. You got to accept the whole Constitution, including the part where the people are sovereign and police are public servants. And it's just like government. It's a mutually beneficial arrangement. You can't, right? Who do you want? You want terrorists or do you want us? Well, I tell you what, it's kind of crazy out there, folks. Now, in Idaho, they've decided they're going to troll all these Pride Month, rainbow toting, fruit salad shooting, butt pirate, bullseye people, right? There's this bar in Idaho, folks. It's celebrating, quote, Heterosexual Awareness Month, and they're giving free beers to straight people. And I say, God bless the satirical. That's right. And fruitcakes can go fly a kite. Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. Folks, Idaho is being overrun by California fruitcakes really badly. So they're in the midst of a fight, much like Texas. Texas has a lot of blue areas in it. And the good people of Texas need to clean that garbage out. Same with Idaho. Hey, if you want Democrat laws and rules, look at California. Look what you guys did to it. Go back there if that's what you want. Isn't it amazing? They destroy California, then like, we're going to move to Arizona or Nevada or Idaho or Colorado or New Mexico and ruin those states next. Crazy stuff, folks. I mean, the left is insane. So insane. Mad Maxine Waters, the hag, and she is haggerific, folks. And I don't mean that as a compliment. She decided to stick her grizzled ass head out from under her rock and start talking trash. She says that you, America, you patriots, you veterans, you parents, you conservatives, you raw freedom-loving Americans, you're domestic terrorists. That's what she's called us. If you support Trump, you're a domestic terrorist. Folks, this is the attitude of the Democrats. I think Maxine Waters is a criminal. I don't know if she's a domestic terrorist, but she supports domestic terrorism, so I guess that does make her one, doesn't it? The extremist stupidity, folks, will beget extremist response. So Maxine Waters has on her side extremist stupidity. An extremist response will come if that stupidity makes a single move at us. Democrats are the ones pushing for violence, folks. They're pushing for violence from their own people. They are instigating violence. They are condoning violence. That's what they do against us, patriotic Americans. And they will continue. I want to bring some of this up. This came from Darcy T. Cowboys Hall of Famer. This guy played back, when I still watched football. His name is Larry Allen. Hall of Fame Dallas Cowboy. I'm not even an NFC guy. I was an AFC guy. I didn't even give a flying nothing about the Cowboys, but I knew who Larry Allen was. He has, quote, died suddenly. He was on vacation relaxing, died suddenly, age 52. Take a wild guess. What led to Larry Allen's death? I have no idea if he did or did not take the Jim Jones juice. But when you die suddenly, and the man, folks, I watched him run down, a running back? He was like 10 yards behind him. He made up the difference and tackled the dude and saved a touchdown on like a 60-yard run. It was incredible. Now, if I remember right, this one play, right, he had to go over and get a little oxygen, but he outran a running back. Big giant of a man, Larry Allen. Super athlete, in other words. And now he's just going to die. Younger than me by 2 years. Just keels over. Unbelievable. Now get this. He died, Jim Jones juice? Who knows? But it was suddenly. Well, Dr. Evil himself, a.k.a. Slimeball Fauci, he showed up in Congress. Of course, he was insulted outside, but inside he tried insulting you. Oh, yeah, folks. He says that the unvaccinated were responsible for 200 to 300,000 additional cerveza bug deaths. He attacked you and said, because you're unvaccinated, 200,000 to 300. Well, which one is it? Dude, 200,000 is one number. 300,000 is 50% more. If you're going to cite a statistic, give us an accurate number, not just making shit up, pulling it out your ass. But that's Dr. Fauci pulling that kind of crap, folks. Based on what? Based on what? But the vax that was proven and admitted to neither stop contraction of anything or spreading cerveza bug or anything, right? Saying that was better than taking the experimental poop. No, right? Now in Japan, folks, the lid is off the box. In Japan, government officials are beginning to apologize publicly. And one even said millions of our Japanese people are dying from taking the Jim Jones juice. He didn't say thousands. He said millions of Japanese people are dying from taking the Jim Jones juice. The world, folks, was lied to by Fauci, by pharmaceutical companies, and eugenicists like Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. They lied. And they don't want to admit it here. They don't want to admit it, but it's what it is, right? It is totally what is going on. Now, the Democrats in Congress went absolutely bonkers because Marge Taylor Greene refused to call him doctor. Isn't it amazing? I remember when Lieutenant Colonel Vindeman corrected a congressman who didn't address him as Lieutenant Colonel. And it's like, wait a minute, you little weasel of a foreigner who snuck into the country, joined the military and are busy screwing it up. Lieutenant Colonel Vindeman, you don't outrank a congressman. You serve a congressman, and the congressman serves the people. But that is what these people think, folks. That is how they act. Unbelievable, folks. Yeah. Now, Marge Taylor Greene did, right, rip him over his experiments and his lies. And folks, as much as I liked seeing Marge Taylor Greene go after Dr. Evil, talk is cheap and action is priceless. I want to say to you folks, always be priceless. Yes, right now, all I can do is talk. We're waking people up. You and I right now are waking up America. That is our job. We're using the First Amendment to wake them up. If they don't listen in Washington, if they don't back off, if they don't learn their lessons now, then the Second Amendment comes into play. Isn't it interesting? I find it fascinating that the way they wrote the Constitution is the way things are playing out. First Amendment, free speech. And they think they have a right to stop offensive language. That's my choice, not the government's. That's my choice, not social media. That's my choice, not big tech. That's my choice, not the bankers. When someone starts making your choices for you, you are a slave, period. So the triggered Democrats, good. I'm glad you freaks were triggered. Trying to create a chaotic environment in Congress. Congress is that close, folks, to becoming violent. And I've got my popcorn, and I'm waiting for it. I really am. These leftist folks, they're idiots. Absolute morons. Now, we, on the other hand, are not. And we predicted this on this show. I was asked, what is Trump going to do? In fact, it was Darcy T. who brought up the part about the appeals process for court decisions and verdicts taking a long time to get through. As I predicted Sunday Night Live, Trump has called on the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene because he was convicted of nothing in a kangaroo court. He was convicted of nothing. 43, 34, 32, whatever the number is. There's no crime there. There's no crime there. It's incredible what is going on. So yes, Trump has called on them. Now again, Governor Kathy Hochul, the wicked witch of New York, the governor there was told to pardon Trump. And I said, no, bad idea. Because that means he was convicted, but the governor pardoned him. Trump needs to have that conviction thrown out as if it never existed because, folks, there was no real action. So yes, the Supreme Court is in on it. And I'm going to predict that tomorrow, Tuesday, there will be a response from the Supreme Court. Once again, knowing this was coming, knowing it was a complete hack job, knowing that District Attorney Alvin Bragg ran on a campaign to get Trump, that it was prejudicial across the board, that everything was folks, a filthy leftist attack. It really was a filthy leftist attack. And the left folk, they are absolutely filthy. And people have had enough. I've had enough, right? The Democrats in Congress, folks, they're making demands. They want Trump done. They want the Supreme Court silenced. I think the Supreme Court should take this case, any politicized case, right to the mattresses and battle it out. until it's understood what the Supreme Court's role is. In times of good behavior, meaning follow the Constitution, they're allowed to sit. And I think any Supreme Court justice that misbehaves should be removed. And by misbehave, I mean failure to intelligently address the law. Just like Judge Merchan failed to handle his job correctly, he should be disbarred, removed, sanctioned, and maybe even criminally tried. You bet Judge Ergadon, whatever that guy's name is, the slimy little schmarmy freak who was hitting on chicks in the gym and being a creep, that guy who was pandering to the camera in the courtroom, once again, not sitting on the bench administering the law, but rather politically attacking. So Chief Justice Roberts, who I'm no big fan of, because, well, he gave us the Obamacare is a tax. So it's a special tax for those who don't do what Obama says. That's not a tax. That's a penalty, and it's illegal. But anyways, Chief Justice Roberts sided with the liberal scumbags in the Supreme Court. And any liberal on the Supreme Court is a scumbag, no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Well, the demands by the Democrats are so far off the reservation, once again, off the reservation, that he's denied them because they wanted to have a meeting over Alito's flag. Well, it wasn't Supreme Court Justice Alito. It was his wife, and she can put whatever flag she wants. And by the way, Congress has no control over the judiciary. The Constitution wrote it that way. They wrote it intentionally, that the president can't control Congress, and Congress can't control the president, and the Supreme Court can't control the president or Congress, and they can't be controlled either. Separation of powers, equal yet separate authority. Incredible stuff, folks. Incredible stuff, right? This banana republic crap, it's going to burn the Democrats. But that doesn't mean don't vote. Please go vote. Go vote, right? This banana republic kangaroo court crap has got to be stopped. And it won't stop. It won't stop. Right? It won't stop. In fact, folks, after the New York City BS Trump trial, a Republican lawmaker has filed the Anti-Communism Education Act. That's right. They see this for what it is, communist takeover of this country. And I'm glad, folks, communism is getting its share of exposure as a concept and that they're getting blamed, these communists. It is the political poison in the cup. So I want to urge other states to follow this and pass Anti-Communism Education Act to get communism out of the schools. It is ungodly, it is un-American, it is unconstitutional, and it is responsible, communism, for more death than anything else in the last 100 years. Over 100 million people have been killed by communists and the application of communist principles, etc. Now, while we're talking about extreme left-wing stuff, folks, I want to talk about this. In Mexico, former Mexico City mayor, who is a socialist, aka communist, Claudia Sheinbaum. That sounds Mexican, doesn't it? Claudia Sheinbaum. She has been elected the first woman president of Mexico. A woman, that means she's got boobs and a vagina. But she's also a climate scientist. and a cerveza bug pandemic, hardline, lock everyone down, mask them up. So folks understand what's happening to Mexico. Right? Mexico has elected an environmental nut who thinks the world is going to be underwater. She is a socialist, and she's anti-human. See pandemic crap. And guess what she wants to do? She wants to destroy the lifeblood of the Mexican economy. She wants to destroy mining in Mexico. Mines in Mexico, gold, silver, copper, zinc, any metal. Mexico is a huge natural resource country, and they want to put an end to that. What do you think that's going to do to you and inflation and availability of products in the next, 2-3 years? Because there are reserves. Manufacturers have reserves here, reserves there, piles of materials. When it disappears, expect massive amounts of inflation. And now, folks, it is time. It is time for the inner circle. Let's get it on. All righty, we've got Man behind the scenes with a big blue wrench. He's a moderator, the keeper of law and order. Don't mess with the man. He'll take the blue wrench to you, give you a timeout, or just ban you all together. And we've done a great job, I think, in making the Prepared Mind channel a friendly place where you can share actual ideas, not just call a bunch of names and be idiotic, right? So the big blue wrench, you betcha. What a tool. Anyway, speaking of tools, we've got a tool in the White House that needs to be done with. Done. But folks, sadly, another Democrat presidential candidate will not be able to run for office. This one was a professor. He took action that could have trapped firefighters in a deadly blaze. What a lunatic, a murderous fool. Well, college professors, they're the smart ones. Yeah, this guy is a disgraced POS, and he's been sentenced. This is what to expect from the Democrats. They're wackos. All right, Mr. Uman, where do we want to go first? Who is up on the question section? And it's Chin Music. He's back. He says, John, the jury didn't even need unanimity on the predicate offense. Bullshit. Yes, correct. The judge said, hey, I don't care what you want to find him guilty, just find guilt. You're allowed to do whatever you want. Just make stuff up as you go. Every step along the way under Judge Merchant, who wasn't even a proper circuit judge in New York City, was brought in as a political hack wearing a pretty black dress. I want to use very bad language, but as I said, I'm trying to lean myself off of that, and you folks have got plenty of dirty, filthy stuff to see out there. But Judge Merchant was brought in, and every step along the way, the whole way, he has denied Trump's rights. He has violated courtroom policy, procedures. He's made a mockery of the judicial system. It has been a complete and total weaponized court against Trump. And boy, surprise, surprise. That is why I said yesterday, hey, look, Trump knew it. His attorneys knew it. They have been talking to the Supreme Court. There's no way they couldn't go to the clerks and say, hey, the moment they say guilty, we're going to have someone walk over and put papers on your desk. There's no way the Supreme Court couldn't be aware of this and already have their clerks doing their work. What do you do with a case where the judge violates the rights of the accused, right? The defendant, again and again and again and again and again and again. where no crime is listed, no injury party is listed, where no statute is violated. They just called it fraud. Fraud. Well, you have to name the fraud. Anyways, it is Mr. Chin Music, exactly as described. It's BS bullshit. And here we are. Now we're in that room where the president of the United States can be tried, silenced, gagged, fined, treated like, well, a criminal. While criminals are living in New York City in luxury hotels with all expenses paid, criminal illegal aliens, the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, is in a courtroom with a mini dictator. He's more like a mini dictator. And a jury of knuckleheads making up the rules as they go. You want to talk about kangaroo star chamber, ridiculous court, crazy stuff. Thank you, Chin Music, very much. And always, as always, thank you for the great support you showed the entire Prepared Mind Network and me especially. I appreciate it. Mr. Uman, where shall we roll next? Okay, very good, very good. Uman has this to say. On the Communist News Network, that would be CNN, reporting jurors on Trump trial are receiving threats and attempts to dox them on websites previously linked to mass shootings. This is interesting. Oh, I feel so bad for these Trump jurors. They're receiving threats. Well, from who? From who? What kind of threats? I want to know. Are people calling them names? To them, that's a threat. Saying, hey, you should rot in hell. They would see that as a threat. Saying, you know, I think you did a lousy job. That will make them quake in their boots. They are, folks, cowards. These Democrats in New York City are cowards. They know what they've done is wrong. So therefore, anything said to them is going to feel threatening to them because they know that they have violated the rights of President Trump and that they have violated the law. They know. So they're guilty. Anonymous threats on radical right-wing websites. Geez, that sounds a little bit like what Democrats do. I doubt, folks. Now, as much as I would like to grab these jurors, physically talk to them, tell them what I think, what special presents they should get for Christmas, I would love to do that, but I know it's not the right thing to do and it's criminal, so I don't. I don't. Leftist, Democrat, socialist, communist POSs, though, on the other hand, they know no such boundary. The difference between thought and action to them, they don't have a difference. If they think it, they should do it. If someone talks to them, they get scared, they should attack physically. This idea of microaggression is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever freaking heard. But hey, then we've heard a lot more since then, haven't we? Anonymous threats, which means they're more than likely Democrats posing as Republicans, trying to make Republicans look and sound like domestic terrorists. That's what they want everyone to think. They want Republicans to go, oh, no, I would never threaten anybody. So therefore, I'm going to shut up. Do not shut up. Yell and scream loudly. Just make sure you don't threaten anybody. But I'll tell you what, this is not a threat. It's a promise. The American people are pissed off and fed up with these left-wing communist bastards. And they're going to start taking action. I don't have to tell them to do it. They're going to do it all on their own. Because leftists continue to attack and attack and attack. And after getting hit in the head a few times, people decide, you know, I don't like this so much. So it's happening on the legal level. It's happening on the political level. It's happening on the scholastic academic level. People are getting tired of being hit and assaulted. And they're going to start fighting back. First with words, and then with when the words fail, or the government becomes abusive, or the left-wing idiots on the street become abusive. I do not want that. I just predict it's coming. Because these people are being emboldened by people like Mad Maxine Water and idiots like Sheila Jackson and AOC and the rest of the jihad squad in Congress. Now, on top of that, folks, Iran's Ayatollah is encouraging students for justice in Palestine, right? They want justice in Palestine. They're student organizations. They have announced plans to, quote, folks, besiege the White House. Well, Biden's president, so this isn't a left-wing thing, is it? No, this is a terrorist thing. But the terrorists and left-wing students don't like Biden. He's lost the youth vote. They think that Biden should join Palestine and Hamas and attack Israel and destroy it. Now, what I found interesting about this particular event, that Iran's Ayatollah is supporting and encouraging violence in America. I see this, if they start taking action, I see this as Biden's excuse to cancel the election if they are going to besiege the White House. Now, what's amazing, folks, is you need to go back and look up Washington, D.C. riots 2020 and click on images on Google or Yahoo or whatever you want. And folks, the amount of burning and red glowing in Washington, D.C. from left-wing scumbags while Trump was president is shocking. The January 6th protest was a little bit of smoke, a little bit of flashbangs, some flag waving, and police murdering Americans. That's right. 4 people died, and they were all patriots and Americans, not police. The one policeman that died, he had a stroke, had nothing to do with anything. But they even tried lying about that. And the policeman's wife called them out on it. But Washington, D.C., folks, was a roiling cesspool of violence in 2020 because the Democrats encouraged it. And now the Ayatollah is encouraging it. And who can take advantage of that? Biden can take advantage of that by saying, oh my gosh, we have another insurrection. So of course they want that. They need to have some kind of excuse. So I see this as the potential to cancel the election. Not guaranteed. It's certainly not out there too much, but I see it as a potential. Truly. I tell you, this hour every afternoon that I do with you guys, it races by fast because there is so much to cover and so much that goes on. Right now, my headache is booming, but that's the price I pay for this. And it is my personal mission that I've accepted. It's my personal mission that I've accepted to keep bringing the word to the people, to wake up, to get prepared, to wake friends, family, coworkers, your community, and get prepared because of what is going on. What is going on? Mr. Uman, where should we roll next? What do we have in mind? Name redacted says the machine. That means the deep state. The machine is preemptively demonizing because they know that they are forcing things to an end that will lead to an inevitable response. That's correct. They are pushing things until they expect violence to come about. Violence to come about. And you and I know, you and I both know that the Democrats out there are the ones who are violent and that they will push and push and push until and commit acts of violence and more acts of violence until we, the people, respond. And when we, the people, respond to their violence, guess what? They're going to claim that it's our fault, that we started, that we're to blame, that we're right-wing radicals, that we're domestic terrorists. And I know better than to even remotely give that any credibility at all. I mean, now, there's a conservative columnist out there named Sean Davis, and he wrote an article the other day calling on Republicans to create lists of Democrats to prosecute and put in prison. That is not terrorism, folks. That's doing the exact same thing the Democrats are doing. Is it terrorist of them? Terroristic? Is it a form of terrorism to use the government to scare us? Yes, that is terrorism, in fact. That's absolute terrorism. Any act that is a threat of violence or an act of violence that causes people to change their political position and belief system is terrorism. That is the goal of terrorists, to get you to change your political position with an act that is a threat or literal violence. So is Sean Davis a terrorist? Or is he saying, make a list of people who have committed crimes against the American people so they can be prosecuted and put in prison? And in my opinion, that should have happened while Obama was officially president and officially in office. It should have started a long time ago, but Republicans are slow to act and slow to characterize their enemies as just that. They're enemies. The Democrats are not Americans. They hate America, so how can they be Americans? The mere fact that they live here or were born here no longer suffices in my book. Yes, they're legally entitled to their rights. I'm not going to argue that. But as far as I'm concerned, they are the same as a foreign enemy who's come from abroad to live domestically to terrorize this country, because they all have the same goals: the destruction of America. It is, in my opinion, unbelievable that this is allowed. Now, Mr. Uman, what do we have? Who is up next? We got Mikey G's. And he says, what about all the threats against the T-Man, Mr. Trump? Exactly. He's been threatened with, effigies, people beating Trump piñatas, lighting Trump effigies on fire, hanging Trump effigies, beheading Trump effigies in music videos by no-name BS rappers. They have a Trump-type character that's been slaughtered, left bloody. And of course, Kathy Griffin, idiot moron, a self-destructive toy of the left. You know, she posed with a severed head that was covered in blood, looked like Trump. Not to mention also the threats against Trump's family. Donald Trump, Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Barron Trump. What about those threats, Mikey? That's the left for you. There's no problem there because, well, Trump is scum. You know, Trump is like Hitler. I have not seen any Hitler-esque moves by him, not yet. I guess if Congress burns to the ground while Trump is president, it might appear to be Hitler-esque. But here we are. Anyways, it has been a hell of a day. Ouch. Mr. Uman sent you a message. You know, what do we do with these people on the left? Educating them? They're immune to education, but they are susceptible. They're susceptible to influence, and that's how they got to where they're at now. That's where they got to where they're at now. Now, since we started the show, I'm willing to bet a number of things. And one of those things is that some news stories popped up that are going to be surprising. There's a J6er who reacted to Dr. Fauci's alleged threat. And what he did was he trolled Dr. Fauci by sitting behind him and making faces and making fun of him. I think that's just great. I wish we could do more to Fauci. I think that somebody would be well within their rights right? We're in big trouble, folks. Big trouble. Big trouble. Now, our side, right? Trump gets arrested for nothing. Trump gets charged with nothing. Trump gets found guilty 34 times for nothing. But a Clinton judge has sentenced a 75-year-old woman who has, quote, significant health issues to 2 years in prison because she protested at an abortion clinic. How is it that protesting outside of a public business is a crime? Where is the injured party? The only injured party I can think of is the baby that's going to be aborted. A baby that is going to be pulled apart limb by limb with suction devices and clamps. Horrifying, folks. Horrifying. But that's Democrats for you. They'll throw an old woman in jail for 2 years for trying to protect innocent unborn children. Crazy, folks. Now, Trump returned to Mar-a-Lago, Florida last night, greeted by huge crowds. Why is it that everywhere he goes, huge crowds, huge crowds, huge crowds? More and more people are siding with Trump now that he's been found guilty. More people are supporting him with money. Every last thing that the Democrats do is backfiring. Unbelievable. And Kim Jong-un, folks, he can't make a nuclear bomb, so he's been sending poop bombs, balloon bombs down to South Korea. Unbelievable. Rocket Man Kim Jong-un is halting his excrement balloon war. It's incredible. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And this is where we're at. This is literally where we're at. You know, talk about mudslinging. Unbelievable. In the NFL, folks, NFL, they decided they wanted to celebrate Pride Month, and they embarrassed themselves very badly. Very badly. People have had it with homosexuality and freakishness being shoved in their face, right? And it's not going to get better. It is the Arizona Cardinals, folks, that put out an Instagram post with LGBT rainbow and the words, "Football is for everyone. Happy Pride Month." Yeah, it's for everyone. And it's being rejected, it's being made fun of. And people are sick and tired of homosexuality and anal sex being shoved in their face and their kids' face, etc. Right? It's awful, and they're not going to quit. All they do is continue to alienate people who don't want to see it, hear it, and hear all about it. This is the country we live in, folks. Football used to be about football. It was something that wasn't Democrat or Republican. In other words, they have now weaponized sports. They've weaponized their circus. But trust me, folks, this is all part and parcel of SHTF. It's part and parcel. In Rome, mighty Rome, the Colosseum, the gladiator fights, the fight to the death between man and animal, feeding Christians to the lions. That was political. It was a fight over the spiritual belief system. Is it going to be moral or immoral? Is it going to be a moral foundation or an amoral foundation? So when the Christians were not in favor, they were fed to the lions. Unbelievable. That was politicized. Where are we at now? They have politicized football. But the true gladiator sports now are the UFC fighters, the mixed martial arts fighters, the bare knuckle brawlers, That's really going to be the case. And I'm wondering when the rainbow crowd is going to send in their tough guys. Right? They've already had, though, of course, trans men fighting women, full contact. And of course, the losers can't fight real men. So they try and say that they're women so they can fight women and beat them. Where's the feminists? Complete idiots. Okay, Mr. Uman, let's get back to the questions and the comments, the thoughts. Let's roll with that on this Monday afternoon. I know we've covered a lot, but I want to get in as much as I can before the show's up. And Name Redacted said, speaking of those stickers, meaning the I did that Joe Biden stickers, boy, the cult members get very upset with those. They lose their shit over them. I love them. Down here in Florida, folks, no Biden flags, just Trump flags, just American flags, whether it's a 6x6 or 6x8 on someone's antenna, to the full-size American flags and Trump flags fly off the back of SUVs, automobiles, as well as pickup trucks and boats and yachts. Yeah, the left, they lose their shit over those stickers. I think it's funny that they show up on gas pumps, that they show up in restaurants. That's right, that they show up in grocery stores. I love seeing them on grocery store tags. Go to the meat section and you see steak for $25 a pound. It's like, really? You betcha Biden did that. They lose it, but what are they going to do? Who are they going to go after? It's a sticker. And I'm not telling anyone to do anything illegal or harmful or dangerous, but I sure find it humorous because I know it triggers them. It triggers the shit out of them. Keep triggering them. Keep speaking. Speak freely. Use your First Amendment rights. All right, Mr. Uman, who is next? We've got Chin Music. Uh-oh. He wants to talk about Mad Maxine Waters. He says she is James Brown's stunt double. I feel good, right? That James Brown. She can feel free to jump headfirst into the celebrity hot tub. Oh, that's the James Brown Celebrity Hot Tub by Eddie Murphy. And if you want a good laugh, folks, back when humor was humor, funny was funny, and comedians made fun of everybody, Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live made fun of James Brown with his James Brown Celebrity Hot Tub. Good stuff. Gonna get in the water. Wow, too hot. Hey. Love the old Eddie Murphy. And he also, folks, Eddie Murphy did a skit where he was a reggae man. And the song was Kill the White People, but buy my records first. Oh, man, it was funny. And, a lot of people I worked with, they started playing that shit. And I'd walk through the kitchen, which is one of my responsibilities, and talk to the staff. And they'd turn that shit way up. Kill the white people. And they'd point at me. And it was funny because that was humor, right? Because it was funny. Buy my record first. We want your money, but, we don't like you. Just ridiculous. But was that racist on Eddie Murphy's part? Or was he making fun of Jamaicans and other islanders down in the Caribbean who want to complain, but of course they want your money too? It's just funny shit. It's just, and of course, Eddie Murphy's probably all-time great would have been where they used makeup and hair and a suit and made him look white. Right. And he went on a bus, and when the black people got off the bus, everyone started singing, dancing, and passing out drinks and having a party. And then he went to a bank, and he went to a newsstand, and they gave him newspaper for free. And then he went to a bank, and they gave him a bunch of cash for free. He's like, hey, that's what happens when there's no one else around watching these white people. It was hilarious. But now it just smacks of anger and hatred just because of what has been done with our race relations. They killed the humor. They killed the fun. Anyways, folks, I like to bring fun back with satire and humor, but also I want people to wake up. Wake up to what's going on, to the evil all around us. Like Zelensky over in Ukraine. He is now complaining about China because China skipped Zelensky's peace summit that's coming up in Switzerland. China's not going to show up. So he is calling China a tool for Russia. He said the same thing about Biden, who is not going to go to his peace summit in Switzerland. So the mighty butt pirate has said both Biden and Xi Jinping are Russian stooges for not helping his Nazis in Ukraine beat Russia. How much do we need to give the little bastard? $200 billion in aid, equipment, assistance is not enough? Apparently not. Apparently not. By the way, a peace summit requires a peace treaty, which means somebody needs to surrender and sue for that peace. Good luck, you little fruitcake of a midget in Ukraine. I think he also needs to be tried for treason against his own people, for genocide against his own people in Ukraine. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. God bless America. Semper Fi.